You know, here in the Black Country around 1901, if you had your own transport, it would more than likely would have been a push bike. If you owned a motor car, you were seriously wealthy. Back then, cars were few and far between. Even so, this area was well known for its thriving motor manufacturing industry, with a number of companies having cut their teeth manufacturing cycles and motorcycles, then branching out into motor car production. Here at the Black Country Living Museum, they have an extensive collection of yesteryear's vehicles, all with a Black Country connection. And the man to tell us all about it is Jim Pease. He's the one responsible for looking after and keeping these vehicles in tip-top condition. Welcome, Jim.
Welcome, sir. This beautiful building we're looking at here is a replication of Bradburn and Wedge's garage in Darlington Street in Wolverhampton. Bradburn and Wedge was founded around about 1905. They were actually agents for Sunbeam, Bean, Kleinow, AJS and other vehicles of that era.
Well, Jim, you've certainly got an impressive collection of vehicles here. Where do we start?
I think a good place to start would be this Turner steam car, a unique vehicle. Only 4 survive anywhere in the world. This does run, and it done the London to Brighton veteran car run in 2010.
So, Jim, presumably there's somewhere you've got to stash your coal and the shovel. Where's all that lot go?
No, it's not. It's not so antiquated as that. It actually runs on paraffin to get it into steam. You can get it into steam very quickly, within about 9 minutes, and drive it away. This particular vehicle is called a Turner Miesse. The Miesse Steam Traction Company was Belgian, founded in 1896, and Turner Manufacturing Company took out a patent to produce them in Wolverhampton from 1902 to 1928. There are only known to be 4 survivors of it anywhere in the world. There are 2 that actually run, one on the Isle of Man, and this is the other one. A number of steam gauges on this, there's 3 of them here. The 2 outer ones that give you a higher pressure are joined together, so it's a backup situation if one of the gauges fails. But the one we have here needs to be at a minimum of £50 per square inch before you can actually run this and drive it away. 3 types of power at the turn of the century. Steam, obviously this is a steam car. We had electric power and petrol driven cars. It wasn't known as petrol, it was known as Motor Spirit, but where did we buy it from?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Can I have 2 gallons of your finest Motor Spirit, please, sir?
No problem, sir. Here we go, sir. That will be 3 nights, sir, including the deposit on the car.
Splendid. There you go, my good
Thank you very
man.
much. And your check, sir.
Thank you. Now, there's no government tax on this stuff, and retailers can charge what they like. I could have got it from the hardware shop over the road, but he charges a penny halfpenny more per gallon, so it pays to shop around.
This is a 1930s petrol pump, but the first petrol pump in the country to serve anybody fuel from a pump was in the village of Oldham Arston in Berkshire. and that was owned and run by the AA, and that petrol station was opened in 1919. This petrol pump will hold 2 gallons of fuel, and you could dispense either 1 gallon or 2 gallon by the position of this yellow lever. By the mid-60s there were over 40,000 filling stations in the UK.
Good afternoon, sir. Can I help you?
Right, fill her up, governor.
That'll be 10 shillings, please, sir.
There you are.
Thank you very much.
Kleiner. That's rather a bit of a funny name, isn't it? Jim, can you tell us a bit more about this one?
Kleiner started life in the village of Slapston in Northamptonshire in 1909. The company was founded by 2 cousins, Alwyn and Frank Smith. But like everybody else, 1910 onwards wanted to produce motorcycles. Decided to use AJS engines from Wolverhampton. So as AJS eventually expanded, owning several factories in Wolverhampton, Kleiner moved from Northampton into the Pelham Street Works in Wolverhampton to produce motorcycles. Showed the first car very similar to this at the Olympia Motor Show on the 11th of September 22 and went out of business in 1929. They only produced cars for 10 years, but during that 10-year period, Kleiner was the British Isles' 3rd largest motor manufacturer. Over 48,000 of these were built.
Well, this looks like something out of Dad's army, doesn't it? But it's a Ford. And what on earth is a Ford doing at the Black Country Living Museum Transport Collection?
This is a lovely addition to the museum's collection. Obviously not Black Country built because it's a Ford Model T, but it was owned and run by a local haulage company called Brevitts. Josie Brevitt were founded in 1836 and they went out of business in 1983. Although being left-hand drive and it's a Model T Ford you associate with America, this particular vehicle has never seen America in its life. Ford opened a manufacturing plant in Manchester here in 1911, and this was built in Manchester in 1920. It's not a replica, it's original. Initially they shipped them in as a kit and we assembled the kit. The kit was left-hand drive and that's how it was built. Model Ts were produced from 1908 to 1927, and between them 2 dates, 15,007,034 were built. When the financial director retired, when the company were taken over, this vehicle resided at his house.
I guess it must have been a big house, Jim.
It sure was. This is a Sunbeam motorcycle built at the Wolverhampton factory. 2,500 were sent to France for the French army for the First World War. 3,500 were sent to Russia for the Russian army for the First World War. This was found in a shed in Paris and brought back to this country. It does have the number of the French army officer that rode it on the plaque, but whether he was killed in the First World War, we don't know. This particular motorcycle dates to 1916. This is a 1934 Sunbeam. It's the last model Sunbeam ever built. They always went on horsepower of the engine, Sunbeam 16, 20, 25, but this was called the Sunbeam Dawn. It was to mark the dawn of a new era. It's actually got a 12.8 horsepower engine, overhead valve. This photograph depicts the first owner, the Reverend Block. He bought the vehicle brand new in 1934 from inheritance money. This particular car was my own pride and joy for 27 years. There are only 8 of them known to survive anywhere in the world. In the heyday, Sunbeam was Wolverhampton's largest employer. Sadly, in 1935 they went into receivership, and I do believe now that the factory is luxury apartments.
AJS, is that the same company, the world famous motorcycle manufacturers?
This is an AJS 9, and 9 stood for 9 horsepower. There are only 33 AJS cars anywhere in the world, and we have 2 in our historic vehicle collection on site. AJS was founded in Wolverhampton in 1909 by a man called Joe Stevens. He had 4 sons. He'd only got 1 son out of 4 that had got a middle name. AJS is Albert John Stevens. They went into receivership in October 1931. The car name AJS was sold to Willis Overland Crossley. Crossley used to produce buses in Stockport. You may think this is the boot of the car, but actually it's called a dicky seat, and the passengers would have sat in the boot to be carried around.
And now, Jim's able assistant, Jordan, is going to take this splendid old machine for a drive around the Black Country Living Museum.